What's up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Dave, bringing you the latest on Celebrity Big Brother, episode 6. All right, so we're coming off of Keisha being evicted from the Big Brother house from the last episode and the start of a new HOH competition. So, to kick things off, we know, like I said, Keisha got evicted from the Big Brother house. She was up on the block with Omarosa, and Omarosa got to stay. Yeah, so the big thing with Keisha is that it kind of came out of seemingly nowhere, but Keisha wanted to go home because she claimed that her whole issue is that her breast milk was drying up and that her that's the only thing that her daughter takes for nutrients, so she had to immediately leave. So she got voted out of the house after Marissa chose not to use the veto, and ultimately, yeah, it screwed up the plan to to backdoor Shannon. So that's where we're at the start of this episode. So when the episode picks up, we find out that the whole thing with Keisha wasn't totally out of the blue. Keisha actually knew. Keisha had actually told Brandy and Ari and Marissa that she wanted to get voted out of the house. Ari and Marissa were okay with it. However, Brandy was completely not okay with this happening. Brandy was really upset, really angry, saying, I need to take care of my kids too. But Brandy ended up basically agreeing, just going along with whatever Keisha had to say to begin with. So whenever it led up to eviction, we just saw, it just kept on showing like hours and like within the first 2 hours leading up to eviction, and that's just what Keisha's new plan was. However, there was a new plan in place once again from Brandy, Ari, Ross, and Marissa to this time around to once again try to backdoor Shannon, meaning one of the four of them would have to win the HOH. So James and Shannon are pretty much like they're considered an alliance by everybody else. They think that they're with Ross and Marissa, but Ross and Marissa are with Ari and Brandy. Mark is still incredibly happy to be a floater, and he's just doing that really well. And yeah, so that's where we're at. And Shannon and James surprisingly feel very safe. And that's like the most that's again surprising thing because they're the targets, but they don't know that they're the targets because they still trust Ross and Marissa, who are clearly backstabbing them. So not too much else happens inside the house other than them talking like we still need to backdoor Shannon, or should we go after James, or what exactly should we do? So this all leads us into the new HOH comp. The HOH competition has Ross hosting because he's the current HOH, well, leaving HOH, and Ross, reads out the rules to them, basically saying that they have to deal with super fans, which are literally these giant fans that are just blowing away the golf balls that they have to get into specific holes. They have 3 golf balls that they have to get into. Each golf ball has to be a hole in one, and whoever has the fastest time gets to be crowned the new HOH. So Brandy gets to go first. She has a record of about 5 minutes or so. After her, the next person to beat her out is Shannon. Shannon gets it in. She gets the first 2 balls in, and the third one is giving her a significant amount of trouble. However, she beats out Brandy's time. Everyone else starts losing one by one, and till Ari comes up. Ari comes up and she manages to beat Shannon's time, and basically it's looking like okay, so everyone's ecstatic that Ari won HOH. Ari's excited, obviously. Shannon now lost, which now puts Shannon in another, it puts Shannon in a pretty bad position where she's once again the target this week. However, James goes up again, and James ends up getting a pretty decent score. He gets the first 2 in, and then once again he's stuck on the third ball, which everyone else is having difficulty with. James almost beats Ari, but he loses by literally 1 millisecond. Incredibly close, like the closest thing we've probably seen in ridiculously long time. And ultimately, Ari gets the HOH win. So now with Ari having the HOH win, the idea is exactly what to do. They're afraid of, so Ari's HOH win is considered also a win for Brandy. James and Shannon feel safe because they believe that Omarosa is still the target. Meta Meta just doesn't care. The thing with Meta this time around is that Meta actually decided he wants to play the game now because he wants, again, he still wants revenge for not getting voted out. So Meta just said he's just going to go crazy and he's totally willing and ready to go on board with absolutely anything that can get the most amount of people out, particularly, again, his targets, James and Shannon. So Ari is in the HOH room. She's with Brandy and Marissa again, and they're plotting exactly what they want to do. They decide that they're going to put up Shannon and James because they figured, well, they need to split the two of them up. And if one of them wins the veto, they can just vote the other one out, and that both of them need to be out in the end anyway. So Ari is afraid of Shannon's ability to convince everybody to do things. She's afraid that she says that Shannon's really good at talking. And I guess Ari herself is too afraid of that she might fall for one of Shannon's pleas. So she comes up with a plan with Marissa and Brandy to have Meta in the room. And to have Meta, he just sits there listening to whatever the music is. And he's just sitting there for however so long it might be. Might have been a few hours or so. Shannon walks into the HOH room and Shannon just sits there in awkward silence, waiting for Meta to leave, hoping that she'll be able to talk to Ari and convince her to put up Omarosa and Meta. Meta says like this is exactly what he's known for. Like he said like this is his big defensive move that he's gonna do. And he does it successfully. To which Shannon leaves the room. Shannon goes downstairs. She's emotionally drained. She starts talking to James. James tells her, like you're playing a good game. You're strong. You can deal with this. You'll be fine. But Shannon is just totally breaking down. She's emotionally drained and she's just kind of like sick of the game at this point because she feels like she feels like she's been attacked since day one. Amorosa, on the other hand, is more or less loving this because it gives her a week of safety because she felt like she's been the target the entire time. And once again, Mark's just on board for whatever happens. Mark even said that he purposely threw the HOH because he's got no reason to win it, and he's just going to keep on floating all the way through for as long as he can until he has to make a move. And Mark is currently probably like in the safest position that he's ever in the safest position out of anybody in the house. And Brandy and Ari seem to be a little bit suspicious of Ross, like maybe they're picking up that he's playing both sides. I don't really see it just yet, but that's something we'll have to look forward to in the end and see how they ultimately feel when it comes to Ross. But the alliance of the four of them of Marissa, Ari, Brandy, and Ross seems to be really strong at the moment. And James and Shannon, while they seem to be sticking together, James is just like I said, he's just trying to cheer up Shannon and trying to, motivate her to keep fighting. But in the end, they're all sitting down and they're all like awaiting the nominations, and Shannon and Omarosa are going at each other yet again. And Ari just comes down and just more or less, you could say, settles the score. And Ari nominates James and Shannon, who were both in shock, but they're gonna have to do what they have to do. So that just leaves us with the two of them on the block and us having to wait out the veto. And the plan that's currently in action is to get one of those two out because both can't win the veto unless there's some sort of crazy twist, which is something that if you watch the show towards the end of it, something flashed on the screen and it said something about find out how you can. It seems like America's going to have some sort of vote that's going to be able to affect the show. We don't know exactly what it is, but that's something that flashed on the screen. No details were really given, but that's something we should be interested in. Anyhow, that's where everything stands. It was a pretty brief episode, just mostly focused on the HOH comp, expectedly so, and just once again another week of them trying to backdoor another HOH of them trying to backdoor Shannon. Ross felt like his HOH was wasted with the whole thing with Keisha. Shannon was pretty happy with what happened with Keisha, and Omarosa feels like her only ally is gone, which is more or less true. So that is where we are right now. So take it how you will, and that's the amount of progress that was made. Another week of them trying to get rid of Shannon or James, and we'll see what happens Friday. If there's going to be a double eviction or another live HOH or another live veto competition, and we'll see who gets pulled off the block. So I want to thank you all for watching another episode of Reality Room Podcast. If you like any of our stuff, there's a link in the description for Patreon. We have more videos coming out soon, more live feed videos, and immediately after this, I'll be covering Amazing Race with Paul. So stay tuned for that. Like to give a big shout out to Patty, one of our biggest supporters over on Patreon. So, like I said, if you guys like our content, consider donating over there. And don't forget to like this video if you like it, thumbs it down if you don't, and subscribe. And till now, see you on the next video. Peace.